Now joining us, though, of SGPN. Of course, you can find his work over there. Last time he was on the show, he ran the table. So we're going to see if he can run the table yet again. Munaf Manji with us right now. Munaf, thanks for hanging out here tonight.
Hey, 100%, man. Thanks for having me back. Good to be here with you, Jeff.
Of course, absolutely. Let's dive right in. We're going NFC South here tonight with you. We already talked about a few other divisions with Jansen. I didn't touch the NFC South because we knew we had a few bets from you for the regular season. And let's start with the defending division champions who don't have Tom Brady anymore. Kyle Trask, I know he threw a touchdown tonight in Tampa 1 in the Meadowlands. Trask really did not play particularly well. He was running for his life most of the night, even though he threw that touchdown at the end of the half. Kind of got lucky by a mistimed jump by a secondary player. Win total 6.5. Munaf, I already have a ticket on Tampa to have the fewest amount of wins in the NFL this year. I like under 6.5. Where do you come down on the Bucs here?
I am 100% with you, Jeff. I like the under 6.5 as well. It starts at the quarterback position, like you mentioned, right? Life after Tom Brady. You're putting your faith in Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask, and I'm not sure that's going to equate to 7 wins here. And again, injuries are a concern for this team as well at the skill positions, right? We talk about Mike Evans, talk about Chris Godwin, a few seasons removed from that torn ACL, but also, I don't trust Todd Bowles as a head coach of this team. It seems like he's lost a lot of the times, trying to make in-game adjustments and decisions to propel his team to a victory. It just hasn't happened. And there's a lot of roster turnover with this team as well, right? They lost Shaquille Mason on the offensive line. Akeem Hicks is also gone as well. Their kicker is gone as well. You talk about Sean Murphy Bunting, one of their better cornerbacks. He's gone as well. So it seems like there's going to be the running for Caleb Williams in the upcoming draft next year.
You would imagine, and again, I Bowles is one of the 3 worst head coaches in the league to me.
Yeah.
And even though it's a mediocre division, I just don't see it. They may be competitive on the defensive side of the ball still, but
Sure.
Offensively, even with good wide receivers, Evans, Godwin still there, I just don't see it offensively with either Mayfield or Trask. And again, we'll learn right away with Tampa because week 1, even though they are almost a touchdown dog, they're playing team regress in Minnesota in week 1, and then they're a small home dog against Chicago week 2. You start 0-2, that thing can balloon pretty quickly into 0-7.
It doesn't get any easier after that. Like you mentioned, those first 2 games, you welcome the Eagles, and then you go to New Orleans, and then you have road games against Buffalo. You go to San Francisco. That's always a tough trip to the West Coast going from Florida. And you go to Lambeau in late December. Weather can be a factor there. And then you end the season with 2 division games there as well. So their strength of schedule, at least, it's tough to start. There's a lot of tough road games. And then, again, like I mentioned, the 2 division games at the end of the season as well. So I just don't trust Baker Mayfield, man. I just really don't. And again, I think, like you mentioned, Kyle Trask preseason, he's been all right. But again, I just think that this team is, I agree with you, them and probably the Cardinals or the Raiders will end up with the worst record this season.
Yeah, Arizona's, there's no talent there more than anything. I think even though I do like the Raiders in that market and like Tampa, it might be hard for anyone to catch Arizona in ineptitude this year and be set up to replace Kyler Murray with Caleb Williams. So that could very easily happen there in Arizona. Of course, Arizona has Houston's pick as well. Could very easily be number 1, number 2 for Arizona in this upcoming draft. Let's go to another play in the division before we look at the other 2 teams. Carolina now, Munaf, going into the preseason, I thought Carolina was a sleeper here. I like Frank Reich. I like that they were not messing around. Young's the starter from the get-go here. But it has been very ugly against the 2 New York teams in the preseason. Now, I don't want to overreact to preseason, but a win total of 7.5 here, Munaf, that feels about right to me. But it has been as ugly can be through 2 preseason games for the Panthers' first team.
Yeah, and you also look at the fact you have a brand new head coaching staff as well with Frank Reich. I know he's a seasoned head coach, but then you also have a rookie quarterback in Bryce Young. And like you mentioned, they just haven't looked very good. at least in the preseason, the first 2 games. But you also look at Jeff, their first 6 games for the upcoming season, they all play teams with a win total of at least 8.5 coming into the season. And they have some tough road games. You start a division game against Atlanta. There's a lot of hype around. You have to travel to the West Coast to Seattle, and then you're going to Detroit and then to Miami before your bye week. And then after that, the schedule does ease up a little bit for them, but they still have games. They have the Cowboys coming to town. You have Green Bay at home, fortunately for them. So again, if they get off to a 1-5, 2-4 start, I think it's going to be tough sledding for this team, especially in a league where you have to score points to win ball games.
Yeah, just again, it's been a very rough looking preseason. Again, I don't want to overreact to preseason, but Young,
Yeah.
if that offensive line does not block for Young, they're in big trouble. And this is another one you're gonna know right away. At Atlanta, week 1 division game, winnable game for Carolina, and then week 2 they have had New Orleans' number outdoors in Charlotte over the last few years. So if you're gonna have a shot to be better than that 7.5 win total, you better win the first 2 games against Atlanta and New Orleans. If not, this could be an easy walk for you there, Munaf, to get to under 7.5 on Carolina. I know you don't have any plays on these other 2 teams, but I want to look at the Saints and the Falcons. Sure. New Orleans is the betting favorite in the division. Derek Carr, of course, there now as their quarterback. Win total of 9.5. Minus 190 to make the playoffs. Plus 120 to win the division. Kind of crazy to see New Orleans almost as a $2 favorite to make the postseason, Munaf. I don't have anything on this team. It wouldn't shock me if they go 11-6, win the division. Wouldn't shock me if they go 7-10 and miss the playoffs, which kind of makes me think that 9.5 number is about where it probably should be for the Saints.
Yeah, I agree with you. Again, this is a team that can easily go 10-7, 11-6, win this NFC South division, or they can end up going 7-10 or 8-9. The thing that's in their favor is that they come into the season with the easiest schedule as far as opponents up for this upcoming season. And on paper, I know that's a term that people sometimes hate using, but there's a lot of talent, especially at the skill positions, right? I know Alvin Kamara is going to be serving that suspension, but they did pick up Jamal Williams as kind of an insurance policy. Chris Olave had a great rookie season. Michael Thomas, he's dealt with injuries over the last couple seasons, but when on the field, he's at least I think top 10, top 15 wide receiver when healthy. That home field advantage, I know over the last couple seasons hasn't been there just because they haven't been very good, but historically it's been a great home field advantage, and it really gets ruckus in that Superdome for the New Orleans Saints. So, going in with the easiest schedule here, I'll lean on the over 9.5. Again, like you mentioned, Jeff, this is a team that could potentially go 10-7, 11-6, and get this division because all 4 of these teams in this division have a top 10 easy schedule.
Yeah, again, you get the AFC South in the cross-conference draw, which is pretty good, all things considered. You get the AFC. You do have to play the AFC East in the extra game, but it's only 1 game. And then, of course, going against the NFC North a little bit better than going against the NFC West or the NFC East for the South. Going to Atlanta last here, this is the team that a lot of gambling Twitter likes. I just can't get there because I don't trust the quarterback. I know Desmond Ridder looked pretty good yesterday against Cincinnati. Win total's 8.5, about a little better than even money, plus 105 to make the playoffs, plus 215 to win the division for Atlanta. Even though I like Arthur Smith, Munaf, I can't get there because I really don't like the quarterback situation in Atlanta.
I'm agree with you 100%. I'm not sure that I've seen enough out of Desmond Ridder over those last 4 weeks of the regular season last year for him to lead this team. Look, this running back group, obviously, there's a lot of hype of coming around Bijan Robinson, who absolutely dominated at Texas in his career there. Cordell Patterson probably is going to be moving back to the wide receiver spot, and you still have Tyler Algier in the backfield there for the Atlanta Falcons. I kind of go a different way here. I think if you like the Falcons and you think they win the division, I think the better play may be to take Arthur Smith for Coach of the Year. I don't know what your thoughts on that is.
If Atlanta wins the division, he's live. He's very much live to win if they win the division. This is a loaded field for me this year in Coach of the Year because right now Campbell's the favorite. I don't see that because it's weird. Detroit's expectation off the betting markets is that they win a division. So I don't think Campbell can get there. Denver makes the playoffs. Payton probably wins the award. I like Arthur Smith more than I like Eberflus, who's shorter than him. I like him more than Saleh because Rodgers gets all the credit if the Jets make the playoffs. To me, Smith's in the same boat as LaFleur and Frank Reich and Ryans, in all honesty. Mm-hmm. My whole thing is I think Doug Peterson is going to end up winning the award because I think Jacksonville takes a big leap. And even if Trevor Lawrence takes the leap, Peterson's still going to get a lot of credit. I think that's still my favorite bet on the board in the Coach of the Year, Mark and Munaf.
And I thought that he should have won it last year. I know Brian Dable got the Giants to the playoffs, but for this Jaguars team and how they ended the season last year and winning the AFC South division, and especially in the playoff, I know it's a regular season award, but Doug Peterson was absolutely brilliant for this Jacksonville Jaguars team, especially after the debacle of Urban Meyer the previous season. For this Jaguars team. So, I think I'll put some coin down on Arthur Smith for Coach of the Year this year.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.